Ever get those, like, heart-pounding, sweaty palm flashbacks to standardized tests?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, me too. The clock ticking down, the pressure of every bubble you fill in. It's enough to make anyone sweat a little.
But what if I told you the ACT?
Oh, tell me more.
The college admissions test titan is getting a makeover.
What?
And I'm not talking just a new font on the logo. This is a full-blown transformation.
Really?
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, the ACT has been this, like, constant force in college admissions for decades.
Right.
To see them making such substantial changes tells you a lot about how they're reevaluating testing and its impact.
For sure. And luckily for us, we've got a direct line to the source.
Okay.
We're diving deep into a recent announcement straight from the ACT newsroom and blog.
An article penned by none other than the CEO of ACT, Janet Godwin.
Okay.
The title, "The ACT Test is Evolving." Okay, maybe not the catchiest headline,
Right.
but trust me, the implications are huge.
Definitely not your typical clickbait.
Right.
But this is about more than just grabbing attention. It's about responding to the needs of students and educators.
Absolutely. So let's break down these game-changing updates.
Okay.
The biggest news flash?
Yeah.
Flexibility is the name of the game now. Get this. Students will actually get to choose if they want to take the science section or not.
Wow.
Can you imagine?
That's
huge.
I know.
This could be a total game changer for students, especially those who might not feel as confident in science or who find standardized testing incredibly stressful.
Right. Keep in mind, the ACT still values a solid foundation in English, reading, and math.
Of course.
Those remain the core sections that make up your score report for colleges.
Exactly. So you can't completely ditch those textbooks just yet.
Right.
But I love that this new approach allows students to really lean into their strengths.
Yeah.
Picture this. You're a total wordsmith, acing those English and reading sections, but the thought of a physics problem makes you break out in hives.
Oh, yeah.
Now you have the power to say, later, science section. I'm focusing on where I shine.
Yeah. It's all about setting students up for success
Right.
and recognizing that everyone has different strengths.
Exactly.
And speaking of setting students up for success, the ACT is also trimming down the test time, making it much more manageable.
Okay, yes. This is huge. Depending on whether a student opts for the science section, the ACT could be a whole third shorter.
Imagine yourself actually taking this test.
Right.
That difference in time could mean feeling energized and focused versus completely mentally fried.
Right.
This change recognizes the mental stamina required for standardized testing.
For sure.
It's not just about knowing the material, it's about pacing and endurance too.
It's like running a marathon and suddenly realizing, wait a minute, I only signed up for a 10K.
Right, exactly.
That mental shift could do wonders for a student's performance. So we've covered a more flexible, streamlined ACT experience. But now let's dig into the why. What prompted these seismic shifts?
Right.
Well, Janet Godwin is very clear in her article. These changes are a direct response to feedback from students, educators, and experts. This isn't about changing things just for the sake of change.
Right.
It's about staying relevant and addressing the real needs of the people who matter most.
It really speaks to ACT's commitment to evolution.
Yes.
They've always been at the forefront of innovation in testing, from pioneering school day testing to offering online options.
Right.
This isn't their first rodeo when it comes to adapting and finding the best ways to measure student readiness. This latest move simply underscores their commitment to staying ahead of the curve.
They're not just sitting back and expecting things to stay the same. It's refreshing to see, especially in the world of standardized testing, which can often feel, well, a little stuck in its ways. But now we're faced with the million-dollar question, what do these changes actually mean? How will this impact students, colleges, the whole shebang?
That's where things get really interesting.
Right.
And it's exactly what we're going to unravel after this quick break.
All right, so we're back and ready to unpack the potential ripple effects of these major ACT changes.
Okay.
There's definitely a buzz in the air, a mix of excitement, maybe a little skepticism.
Right.
Let's break it all down. First up, let's talk about the potential upsides.
Okay.
For students, the benefits seem pretty clear. Less stress, for one,
Right.
and that's huge.
Yeah.
Giving students the option to opt out of science if it's not their strong suit. Just that alone could drastically reduce anxiety levels on test day.
Oh, absolutely.
And you know what less stress often leads to?
Let's see.
Higher scores.
Mm.
When you're not mentally drained by a marathon test, you're more likely to perform at your best.
Oh, yeah. It's like,
It's like,
imagine training for a triathlon, pushing yourself to the limit in every discipline,
sure.
and then on race day, finding out you can skip the swimming portion.
Right.
The relief, the refocused energy,
Yeah,
it could make all the difference.
exactly. And this change also addresses a crucial equity issue.
Right.
Not all students have equal access to science resources and support.
Yeah,
Giving students the choice of whether or not to be tested on science could help level the playing field, making the testing experience fairer for everyone.
for sure.
I love that focus on creating a more inclusive testing environment. It's a huge step in the right direction,
Mm-hmm.
but, there's always a but, right?
Right.
What about the potential downsides?
Yeah.
What are we overlooking in all this excitement?
Well, the big question mark is how colleges will react.
Okay.
Some colleges might still require that science section.
Right.
They may see it as a vital indicator of a student's readiness for certain fields.
Right. So students hold on to those periodic tables for just a bit longer. We need to see how this all plays out in the real world. Don't go tossing out your textbooks just yet.
And then there's the scoring puzzle. How will the ACT handle scores for students who choose not to take the science section?
Right.
Will their scores be weighted differently? Will colleges have to revamp their admissions criteria?
Yeah.
These are all questions we don't have answers to just yet.
It's a bit of a wait-and-see game at this point, and it's
Yeah.
not just colleges we need to consider. What about the test prep industry? This could really shake things up for them.
Oh, absolutely. Imagine having to completely rethink your curriculum and your entire marketing strategy.
Right.
They're going to have to adapt quickly to stay relevant and meet the evolving needs of students.
Let's talk about a plot twist. This isn't just about one test changing. It's potentially about a domino effect across the entire education landscape. So while we have a ton of questions swirling around, one thing's for sure. Things are about to get very, very interesting. But you know me, I always like to end on a thought-provoking note.
Okay.
So let's zoom out for a second.
Okay.
If we connect this back to the bigger picture, what does this tell us about the future of standardized testing? Is this just the ACT marching to the beat of its own drum, or is this the beginning of a larger trend?
It really does feel like someone just hit the reset button on the whole standardized testing scene, doesn't it?
Totally. And we've got front row seats to see how it all unfolds. But here's what I'm really curious about. Could this be a catalyst for other standardized tests like the SAT to make similar changes? Will they feel the pressure to adapt and evolve to stay competitive?
It's definitely a possibility. And this raises a really important question about the future of college admissions in general.
Right.
Will this spark a larger conversation about the role of standardized tests? Should they hold as much weight as they have in the past?
Right.
If not standardized tests, then what are the alternatives?
Right, yeah.
How else can we effectively assess student readiness and potential?
It's almost as if these changes to the ACT are forcing us to confront some really big questions about education as a whole. We might be on the verge of a major paradigm shift, and that's both exciting and a little daunting, don't you think?
Absolutely. This is a developing story, and I think we can all agree we'll be watching closely to see what happens next.
So, to all you listeners out there, stay tuned because this deep dive is far from over. Who knows what other surprises are in store for the future of college admissions? But one thing's for sure, things are about to get very, very interesting. That's all the time we have for today's deep dive on the ACT's big makeover. Until next time, keep those brains buzzing.